This is Real Sports Talk, Rumack and the Greek, featuring Billy the Greek and Stormin Norman Rumack. Brought to you by the good people at Cosa and Carpets for Life.
Hello, everybody. How are you? That's good. I jumped around and maybe I hope you're well. We hope you're well. I'm Stormin Rumack. It's the one and only, Billy George Sakis. I'm the only one from here to Neptune that pronounces his name properly, and at least it makes me smile until I talk about, oh yeah, Billy, I haven't got any chicken wing grease on my hands. Can I like massage your head there or what?
Touch me, bro.
Why? It's an honor.
Oh, they're weird. Look, what a classy individual I am. Take a look. They're holy cheap, handsome, eh?
Billy, you must have kind of like,
Keep it down. I'm
you know,
myself here.
Do you like? Are you like the rock bands in the 60s and 70s?
Here's what I'll tell you.
Do you have like a groupie following or something?
Here's what I'll tell you, Norm.
Yeah.
I want you to get in a different kind of mindset. Let me explain kind of what I was thinking on the way here. Obviously, you're not here for your talent or your ability or your knowledge of sports.
Of course
right?
not.
So I want you to think of yourself more than a sports personality.
Uh-huh.
I want you to think to yourself that
Yeah.
you're like kind of like a Dave Semenko kind of guy. You're here.
The enforcer.
You're here to ensure the talent in the middle of the madness stays safe, Norm. You're not here for your sports, your opinions, or nothing.
Well, wait. Do I get a few extra shekels to be like your semi bodyguard during the show? Like, what do I get? At least some wings and veggie sticks? I mean, it's at least worth that, Bill. I mean, come on. I mean, I like you and all, but you should get a little bonus for that kind of work, no? Especially
Are you complaining? Are you complaining the salary that you're
I'm not
getting?
complaining. I'm just doing a hard negotiation.
You know what you didn't see in front of you. We had a star-studded cast.
I know.
There's a lot of talent, Norm Rumack. You could be out the door. You're show to show here, pal. Believe me, the Greek will cut you off. I'll bring in the young guns here, man. And if you're complaining about your salary, somebody else will gladly take that $32 an episode, pal. Believe me. All right. So talk to the people. Forget about yourself. Talk to the people.
Well, okay. I'm going to talk to my agent. I got to see if they'll still.
Just there's a little winners on the way here. I stop by every now and then. All right.
Sure.
Listen, we're in live programming. Please don't interrupt. We have prepared material here.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got
this guy scored 12 goals in Germany 17 years ago, and he walks around like he owns the bar. Look at him, a third line guy. Holy jeez!
From my
apartment. Abuse. Come here to put on a sports program, nothing but abuse. Anyways, speaking about abuse, obviously, where do you want to start? We could start.
Well,
hold on, let me get a word in.
You've been talking for 5 minutes.
We can start with my Dallas Cowboys. We can start with the Leafs. We can start with the World Cup.
Yeah.
We can start
okay.
Where do you want? Lots to talk about.
Well, all right.
And only a short time to do so. Speed it up.
Okay, boss. And now bodyguard. I'm honored. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's quickly congratulate the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah.
An impressive Grey Cup win. And Winnipeg, and look at most of the fans there were Winnipeg fans and Saskatchewan fans. Obviously, the Riders hosting the Grey Cup. Yeah, I am, because I gotta mention. You know, I felt bad for the Argos because it looked like at Mosaic there were like the TSN, the camera shot would go on these 5 or 6 Argo fans, and then Larry Tenenbaum, you know, the owner, in the private suite. But look, that's how it goes. I mean, to be fair to Argo fans, it's not a cheap airfare to go to Regina. And so anyway, I'm just saying, but congratulations to the Argos. Winnipeg, Caleros and their defense will be disappointed. They did not play as well as what we would expect or what they would expect. But nonetheless, the Argos took advantage of the opportunity. Congratulations to them. That's a very impressive win.
Here's what bothers me as an avid sports guy. Here's what I get confused, right?
Yeah.
And as you know, I've been known to pull out a couple 20s and burn them. Gambling sports. But here's what I want to know. Maybe you can explain to me. Anybody out here that can explain something to me. How in the blue hell does the clock work in the CFL in the last 3 minutes? There's 15 different possessions. So the guy's running the ball, right? And the clock stops. Then it starts. The guy goes out of bounds. The clock. I can't understand for the life of me how the CFL clock works in the last 3 minutes.
Well,
I don't want a tutorial, but that's part and parcel of the reason why it's hard to get a lot of fans. And the other thing I will say about the CFL
Yeah.
is they've had an illustrious history in terms of quarterbacks. You're talking about
Yeah.
Wilkinsons, you're talking about Warren Moose, and for
Joe
me,
Theismann?
absolutely. But I'm talking
Yeah.
about winners. Doug Flutie, for me, it was refreshing to see the Winnipeg football Blue Bombers not get that third championship in a row because no insult to Zach Caleros, but you can't put Zach Caleros beside Warren Moons and Wilkinsons and guys like this as a three-time champion.
but you know,
he's some stiff, really.
No, he's
that can't
not.
play.
That's
Zach
not true.
Caleros
That's not true.
Not a life changer. You're not going to watch.
That's
I'm
not
talking.
true.
You're not going to watch CFL football and go buy a Zach Caleros
Oh,
jersey.
yeah? Well, how come all those people in Manitoba do?
They got nothing.
They don't know their
Imagine
football?
Manitoba, man, living in that nothing happening town. What else are you going to do? You're telling me somebody now I'm watching the Grey Cup and I'm going to go buy a Zach Caleros jersey and spend $200?
And this is why Western Canadians
Gives a rat's
Western
ass.
Canadians want to have their own country because they hate the attitude from, they refer to us cynically in Toronto as center of the universe because that's how Torontonians regard themselves. So that's why the rest of the country.
I didn't say anything.
Not
Did you
just
hear me say
Quebec,
anything pleasing
the
about the
rest
Argos?
of the country, especially in Manitoba.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a
Manitoba,
question.
right to the Pacific
You've been
Ocean.
in this.
They
Oh,
can't
God.
stand Toronto.
You've been in
because
this
of the
industry
attitude.
40 years.
Yeah.
Who was the backup quarterback that led the Argos to the victory last game in the Grey Cup? What was his name, man? Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about. So
Go ahead. You don't even know, and that's what I'm getting at. You're not the only one. You don't even know Stormin, Norman Rumack, who the backup quarterback. His name is Kelly, by the way, not Jim Kelly, but Kelly.
Yeah.
He came in there, did a job, drove him down the field. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's no familiarity with star players, with anything, and that's why.
But Billy, here, let me point out the error in the track you're on, okay? The only godforsaken place.
Don't yell. You're going to have a convulsion. Relax.
I am. The only godforsaken place in this great country that has zilcho interest in the CFL is Toronto, Ontario. Hamilton, they've got a beautiful stadium, Tim Hortons Field, okay?
Another nothing happening town now.
Montreal, when the team is good, they come out to Molson. I forget it, but it's McGill Stadium anyway. So I'm just saying, and in Western Canada, they can't get it up in the CFL. So don't tell me this stuff about, that's not watched. It is watched actually in Toronto. There's a lot of people. It's kind of like when we were kids. You'd have those magazines you're not supposed to show to your parents. You'd hide them under your bed. There's a lot of people who watch Argos. Watch CFL
under
games.
the cover? Under the bed?
Almost.
Eh?
No, they just.
So hold on now. You had a stash of magazines. How old were you? 6? When did you begin your career?
When my hormones kicked in. What do you think?
Eh?
It was like
and then it was on to trench coats and pockets full of candy.
In my era, that's what guys did. It's like if your mother or father
that's
ever
not.
caught you with those
It's a family
magazines,
program, pal. It's a family program.
I didn't say any
We don't want to know
swear
about
words.
your sexual exploits.
I had nothing to do with exploits. I'm just saying.
Oh, God.
We all used to tell our parents we're reading that magazine for the interview.
This is a sponsored program, eh?
I know. Anyway, I'm just saying you're being unfair to the rest of the. In all seriousness, Billy.
I'm not being unfair. I'm being factual.
No. The rest of the country doesn't give a rat's ass who was quarterback last year, 5 years ago. They care about their city and their team.
No. What I'm telling you about the league in its entirety needs some star power, needs some bona fide guys. Hold on.
Toronto.
No, you cannot name me a roster more than 3 guys. All right, here. You want to play the game with the Greek? Here.
No.
Name me 5 Toronto Argonauts. Go ahead.
Name me 5 Toronto.
Yeah, go ahead. They just played in the
all right, Harris, the running back.
Harris, all right, go ahead.
Blue Bomber.
Right.
Okay.
5.
All
go
right.
ahead. It shouldn't take you that long.
All right,
I'll give you 30
5.
Dallas Cowboys. I ask the questions. I don't answer them, pal.
Oh, how convenient.
Name me 5 Toronto Argos.
It doesn't.
Man, you're in the center of the universe. You love the Argos. Name me 5
I don't
guys.
love the Argos.
Man. Name me 5
I love
guys.
the league.
Go ahead.
What's that?
Harris.
Yeah.
Bethel
Okay.
McLeod,
Harris.
I'll give you a little help.
Okay.
All
right.
Speedy B.
Well, are you going to name or you want me? I was going to say Speedy Banks, number 6.
All right.
Former Hamilton Tiger Cat. Okay. Right.
Point made, man. Point made. So the point of the matter is, it's a beautiful league with the beautiful rules. Yeah. But you know what? Unfortunately, in this market, it doesn't sell. The last time the CFL sold even an iota was during the Doug Flutie, John Candy,
Yeah,
Wayne Gretzky, a little Hollywood, a little flash. Toronto's a big league city. They don't support minor league hockey. You go out to watch any of the, and that's just the way it is. And it's not going to change. And the only way that it'll change is if guys like you knew 5 guys that played on the team and talked about it once in a while.
But Billy, with a full-time,
what else?
Billy, with a full-time job in some other field, security.
So make sure your security, make sure the talent is safe. That's what I told you off the top.
And trying to watch English Premier League, World Cup soccer, Major League Baseball,
and those porn mags too. Those magazines interfere with your time too, eh? You just got your hands. You got your hands full, eh, Rumack?
You see what he just did? Oh, your sponsors are gonna be.
You got your hands full, eh, pal?
What were you doing with your hand there?
Hey, listen, man, just get on with the program.
So obviously, kudos
to the Argos.
Anyway, no, but I'm just to be totally serious.
And it's too bad. It's too bad, unfortunately.
But I'm serious in terms of what I'm disagreeing with you on. It's got nothing to do with the star power because the only market. Look at Billy. Even in the Flutie era, okay. Even in the Flutie era in Toronto, because I went to those games, they had 17,000 in the Sky Dome, right? So I'm saying 17,000 is okay, but for one of the greatest teams ever in CFL history.
Fair enough. So what do you want to do instead of
Toronto?
What do you want to do? You want to fold the franchise, man? Get an NFL team in here?
No, they need.
Because if there was an NFL team, you sure as hell would know more than 5 players, would you not?
Well,
yes.
Yeah, right.
So enough of trying to revive the CFL. And say let's just fold it. Let's just fold the goddamn thing. Bring an NFL team in here. It's a big league city. We're not
why it won't happen? Toronto, there's nobody,
Manitoba.
Not even MLSE, can afford the $2 billion for a new stadium and the $1 billion.
Teddy and his family got a little cash. They got cash.
An expansion fee would be at least $1 billion US.
Why don't you chip in some cash?
If you give me a raise, I will.
All right. So the long and short of it is. Congratulations to the Argos and fold the league, and we'll move on.
Come on.
What do you want to say? So obviously I'm in the mood to talk a little Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, right? Wait, don't. Should we?
What do you want to talk about?
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying I want to get the World Cup in. Right?
You got a hard on for the cup, eh?
Hey? What is this land a hard on?
So obviously.
No, I like footy.
World Cup underway. Obviously is a bandwagon jumper, even though you're Canadian. You have some kind of connection to the English side. You put 6 goals in against Iran.
I don't have a connection. I'm a Chelsea supporter, but it's like the rest of the. I mean, I tell you the truth.
So you weren't flying an English flag on your balcony?
Let me tell you who I hope Canada does well, and I'm cheering for Brazil and Canada. Okay, but I'm cheering for Brazil because they have Thiago Silva as their captain. He's been a godsend to Chelsea. He's one of the best signings they ever had. He's 38 years old, and he plays like a man half his age.
Thiago Silva? Never heard of that guy.
And he's captained Brazil for the 3rd time now.
You ever heard of Thiago Silva?
It doesn't matter whether they've heard of him or not.
Thiago Silva?
Thiago Silva.
Tell us somebody we know, man.
Well,
talk about somebody
a household
we
name.
know. Household?
You got to start watching some footy.
Here's what I know about footy that I've seen our Canadian boys, which you've continuously suggested rather vociferously, have no chance against Belgium.
I did not say that. I said.
Hold on. I'm asking a question. Has your position changed given the fact Belgium and their friendly had a little bit of a disappointment?
Friendlies, Billy, are about as significant as the Blue Jays' 3rd spring training game, okay? Or the Maple Leafs' first exhibition preseason game. Friendly. That's why they're friendlies. Nobody wants to get hurt. That's why they're friendlies.
So you take nothing from the fact. Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You continue to belittle Canada's chances. Meanwhile, you saw the USA and the Welsh.
Yeah.
Canada, by the way, pal, won CONCACAF. It wasn't Mexico. Mexico plays Poland as a pick'em, right? USA against the Welsh, big expectation. Canada won CONCACAF. Why don't they get the same respect internationally the USA does and Mexico?
Because
they beat these clubs.
CONCACAF is not as good as the European.
Okay, I understand that. But why? Explain to the soccer novices why Canada beat the USA in qualification. Did they not?
I'd say it's a nice achievement considering Canada.
So why don't they get the same respect in the World Cup as USA does, as Mexico does?
If you want the respect in the World Cup, you got to beat some of the top teams. And if they don't get that respect,
what are you going to do? So you're sure Belgium's going to beat Canada, right?
No, that's not what was my. You
said they'll buy 2-3 goals.
No. I said Canada could. They do exceptionally well to get a draw with Belgium or Croatia. And most people would agree with that because Belgium and Croatia are teams that are capable of winning the whole thing.
And Canada's not.
Not anybody can win, but they wouldn't be a favorite. I think they've got one player.
They've
got one player, Alphonso Davies, who plays in the top European league and plays for Bayern Munich.
Is it necessary to touch the silk?
Oh, I like that silk.
Hey, come on, man.
Oh,
please.
Touching silk.
Is it necessary, man? Don't touch the Versace, pal. Just want to talk to
That's a Versace? There's no way that's Versace.
No, I ripped off the tag, man. It's close. It's Versace's cousin, man.
Before you bought the shirt?
Leave me alone, man. I can't even afford a real Versace. I've fallen on hard times.
Okay.
Anyways,
No.
What are you going to do if Belgium win? What are you going to do if Canada wins next week?
I'll be very happy. You know,
do something. Make a bold, outrageous statement. If next week if Canada beats Belgium, let me come in and shave your hair on air. A mohawk. Boy, you said there's no chance.
No, shave your hair.
Just a little mohawk.
What else are you going to shave?
All right, so Canada obviously comes in as underdogs.
I had double hernia surgery.
You did, eh?
Back in 1996.
You're not a spring chicken, so I'm not
surprised.
I'm
saying. You know what I forgot to do? They tell you before the surgery you got to shave yourself.
Yeah?
I forgot to. So I figured, okay, the nurse will do it.
All right.
And the nurse turned out to be someone who looked like a 300-pound defensive like a linebacker for your Dallas Cowboys.
There's no need to shame people that have weight issues, Norman, on there. Okay, I don't think that's fair. You didn't have to say how much the young lady weighed.
Not a young lady, it was a man.
300? Solid?
I'm saying the man looked like an NFL linebacker, 300 pounds.
The long and the short of it, we're 2 days into the World Cup. Your takeaways. You love your soccer, your footy.
Okay.
What are your takeaways?
All right, well, England dominating Iran is no surprise, okay? I mean, England is like top-heavy up front. They're loaded with talent. They had some injuries before the tournament in terms of Kyle Walker and Reece James, but they're so top-heavy up front. You saw it today, Bukayo Saka, Jude Bellingham, Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling.
So
they're just so loaded.
You named 80 footy guys, and you can't name 2 loving champion Argos.
I've been a diehard Chelsea supporter since 2007. My free time, which is limited, extremely limited, so I have time to watch footy and then some hockey, some of your Dallas Cowboys, God forbid I should miss something, the NFL, Major League Baseball, your Blue Jays and their 2-game series with Seattle.
And we'll get into the trade too. Give you a take on Taylor.
Yeah, they traded the Oscar.
For 2 guys I had never heard of.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm saying, Billy, when you got a full-time gig, and plus for the most part,
you don't got to make it. You don't got to make excuses.
I can only watch so many games, right? And plus, for 5 years doing security, I was working Sundays. So there. All right, so let's get on. So anyways, Senegal missing Sadio Mane, former Liverpool player and a Bayern. He's out. That hurts Senegal. And then Netherlands, to be quite honest, is a better side. So for them to win 2-0 is not a surprise. But without Sadio Mane, it really hurts Senegal. Yep. Now, as far as the United States and Wales, the United States dominated the first half. Wales came out strong in the second half. They really looked good.
Let me tell you something about that game.
I'm just saying. So United States has got talent, but Wales, put it this way, when Wales plays England, there's nothing that would mean more to people in Wales than taking a bite out of England, even though England's a much better team.
Here's what I'm going to tell you as just an average dude that's Canada watching. So obviously I'm going to watch Canada, Belgium. I'm going to do my best. I tried to watch the USA versus who they play.
USA played against
played
Wales.
The Welsh.
Yeah.
Gareth Bale. You don't think I know what I'm talking about. The penalty in the 83rd. But here's the problem. I fell asleep during the first half. I couldn't help myself. Like and that's one of the problems that a lot of people that are accustomed to that haven't had access to footy in their backgrounds. They can't watch a game because of the pace of the game. What can you do the game itself to open up the interest for the average person that needs a little more goal scoring? Like you play 90 minutes, you run up and down the pitch. God bless you. Hold on, I'm talking. You play 90 minutes, you run up and down the pitch. What are we going to do to get some more goals on the board, some more action, so people that are not vested can get entertained? Like, you guys watch soccer. Do you guys watch soccer? It's tough, is it not? It's tough to watch.
Well,
What would make it for you more exciting to watch? What would have to happen?
That's kind of hard to change because of how big the pitch is. There's not a lot of rules that happen, but I don't like watching an entire game for 90 minutes be sorted.
So you want to take, I got an idea, me and you can work together, revolutionary stuff here. How about we just take there's 11 guys on the pitch, is that right, Rumack?
yes.
Let's tell 5 of them to go home. And just make it
Sure.
6-on-6,
Yeah.
wide open,
So
offsides,
we're-
no nothing.
We're talking about the most watched sport in the world by 10 billion light years. 10 billion light
What,
years.
cornhole? Do you play? Have you ever watched cornhole? Cornhole is more exciting than soccer, man. No offense, I like I'm European,
Well,
but
I'm
it's
here
tough
to
to
tell
watch
you,
for a lot of people, man.
it's
It really is.
It's the most universal sport.
I didn't say that.
And by the
I
way,
agree
there's
with you.
more Canadian kids playing soccer.
I didn't
than
talk. I'm
basketball.
talking about you're not listening. I'm
Yeah.
talking about watching the game. It's hard for a person that has no love, no attraction, no connection to fall in love with the game. Sure, you
Well,
love to
what?
play. Obviously, it's a different.
Yeah, but
How do you create that? I'm asking you a question. It's
But
a
look
big
at-
question.
Look at the following the MLS has got here. I mean, Toronto FC's got
I'm not
got
the-
great
You're not
fan base.
listening. Yeah, do you ever listen when I
But you're
talk?
saying they don't like the game.
Philosophically, what can you do to
There's
enhance the
nothing.
value? Nothing.
No, they're not going to worry that you don't like the game. They're worried. The only thing about is look at how many people go to the World Cup from all over. Their whole life savings they'll spend to go to the World Cup from every corner of the planet. You're going to tell me something's wrong with the game? Come on. I would
just
ask
have-
you.
hold on.
I know what you smoke, but I'd ask you theoretically, what are you smoking when you say?
I'm
Come
a
on.
sober individual, pal.
I didn't say you're not. I'm just saying, what are you smoking?
Right?
What,
Listen,
Camel Extra Strong or something?
All I'm telling you is for people that haven't grown
Yeah.
up with the game, it's hard to watch. Speaking of hard to watch,
Yeah.
right? For a Minnesota Vikings fan, this Goulet guy comes in, he's a big talker,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
This,
yeah.
that, the other, scored 2
Yeah.
goals in his career.
Yeah.
Told me Ottawa's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see where that's going. Told me Boston's going to be in the draft lottery. Yeah, professional. You played the
Yeah.
game. Yeah. Okay. What else did this guy tell me? All kinds of things. Nothing's come to fruition. And then the big bad
Right.
Dallas Cowboys going to Minnesota and late. You know what kind of beating that was?
Yeah.
Been watching football for a lifetime.
I know.
I can count
But-
on one hand the beatings a club is given another, and that's
Yeah.
at the top
But-
of the list. Dallas looked really good. Would you agree?
Yeah, but they've looked good for the most part this year, even when Dak was out, right? For the
Yeah.
4 weeks he was out. So they look real. But Billy, as you know, as well or better than anybody,
Probably right.
regular season is not a predictor for the playoffs for the most part in just about any sport. Start off with
All right.
your
All right.
Toronto Blue Jays.
All right. All
Well,
right.
I'm just saying, but in all seriousness, in every sport, we've seen that, right? And in baseball, maybe it's a little bit more predictable because they don't have a hard salary cap, right?
Yeah.
But where you have a hard salary cap, so you've got you got greater parity. And in the
Absolutely.
NFL, has there ever been more parity than there is now?
No, and when you talk about the NFL, take care, guys. Good stuff on the show. Have a good night. Yeah.
Thanks, fellas.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, pleasure, brother. All right. Keep
All
up the
the
good
best.
work.
See ya.
Yeah, drive safe. So what I would tell you, Norm,
Yeah.
is in the world of parity, obviously we know this from a gambling perspective.
Yeah.
You have the biggest spread in the NFL during the course of this week was 6.5 points. That tells you all you need to know.
Right.
That the game is gotten to a point in time where any given Sunday you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
But I'll
and
tell
that's
you
what
this.
they want. Yeah.
But I'll tell you this:
Yeah.
that the Dallas Cowboys, if you take up one off and watch that football game, the Dallas Cowboys for 3 hours
Yeah.
in the 16-week, 18-week season were the most impressive football club that's taken a field this calendar year in the NFL, safe to say. The
Yeah.
most impressive.
Yeah.
That Minnesota
But-
teams went into Buffalo and won.
I know.
It's not chopped liver.
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah.
You know
But
what the score was? Mass degree.
Billy, what was the score? 40?
40-3.
Yeah.
40-3.
well,
So
okay.
that doesn't.
So we talked about this before. Maybe, and it's a maybe, because the AFC still has to go through Kansas City at this point, right? Kansas City's what, a game? Half game up on Buffalo?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Buffalo still has to do it come playoff time. But I'm saying either way, it would be kind of like just kind of interesting for those of us who are a bit older if Buffalo rematched with the Dallas Cowboys. going back to the Jim Kelly.
All right,
era,
from what you and obviously sample size is what it is. Dallas coming off an impressive win, but who's closer to getting to a Super Bowl after Week 10? The Dallas Cowboys or the Buffalo Bills? For me, and that's what changes week to week. For me, Dallas look really good, and Buffalo over the course of the last couple of weeks has looked shaky. And I have a couple of Bills fans; they're not even pleased with the performance. Who's got a better shot?
I'll use your gambling terminology. What do you call it? Pick 'em?
Yeah.
Honestly, wouldn't it be fair to say it's flip a coin now? Dallas. I mean, Josh Allen, sure, he's had a few bad. Who hasn't had a few bad quarters or a few bad sports?
And here's the interesting piece, Norm. I'm big in the Cowboy Nation and what have you.
Yeah.
And here's how the world of sports has changed. And it's always been this way, but never to this point. Dallas, after the overtime loss when McCarthy didn't go for the field goal, the entirety of Dallas Nation wanted McCarthy fired. One week later, they go into Minnesota, win 43, and the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's such an instant gratification, week-to-week scenario, and that's nothing more. It can't be more evident than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, we've had guys in here want to get the guy fired, and now there's only 3 clubs in the league with more points than Toronto. We'll get into the Leafs on the other side. Hold on. We'll get into the – this is called the segue, pal. That's a nice shirt. Hey, what a handsome guy. Look at this guy.
Are you talking about you or me?
I mean, what do you think I'm talking about? You.
Damn
We're going
right.
to get into the Costa Classic, a word from Carpets for Life, and we'll be right back on the other side with a little bit of Leaf talk.
They're off and pacing. I'm Gorgeous. Right out for the lead. Rock and Roll Heaven gets away second. Classic Rock and Roll third. Razzle Dazzle fourth. Piece of the Rock gets away fifth. Sixth is Rockin' Image to the backside. Dreamland's Art seventh. Trailing the field, Doc Yankee. Not the 2-hole. He wants the front, and Dan Dubé puts him there. Rock and Roll Heaven. Opening quarter, 27-1. I'm Gorgeous racing second. Classic Rock and Roll gapped out third. Into the turn, going to the 3/8 mark. Razzle Dazzle is fourth. Piece of the Rock first up on the outside fifth. Rockin' Image is sixth. Dreamland's Art seventh, and Doc's Yankee trails. Into the lane first time, coming to the halfway point. On top, Rock and Roll Heaven at the half. 55-3. 28-2. It's kind of a cakewalk so far. I'm Gorgeous second. Up on the outside, Razzle Dazzle now third. Piece of the Rock fourth. Classic Rock and Roll fifth. Rockin' Image sixth. Outside, Dreamland's Art. Inside, Doc's Yankee. 4 in, 4 out. Down the backside. But it's Rock and Roll Heaven, the leader. I'm Gorgeous second. 3/4, 123. 27-2. And Rock and Roll Heaven starts to open up a bit. Lengthened 3/4 on I'm Gorgeous, trying to stay with him with an 1/8 of a mile to go. Racing third is Razzle Dazzle. Into the stretch they come. Rock and Roll Heaven with the lead. I'm Gorgeous can do nothing but chase. It's all Rock and Roll Heaven winning the Little Brown Jug. 149-2. Equaling.
By now, you know the name COSA TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA TV, taking Ontario racing global.
Everybody, welcome back. Okay, nice race there. Little Brown Jug. From what year was it again, Billy?
2010 Little Brown Jug.
Okay, yeah, prestigious race. And reminds us of our good friends from COSA, who've been loyal sponsors from day one. They worked with me when I was at the Fan 590 for many, many years. They're great folks. And, all the folks, of course, no surprise, who work in the harness racing industry are huge sports fans of all the sports, same ones all you guys and gals follow, and certainly hockey. And actually, there's a few of the drivers, trainers who have relatives in the National Hockey League. So
Absolutely.
there's a strong, very strong connection. So we thank them. And of course, we'll hear from Nicky, the one and only, the king of carpets.
Yes,
Another
sir.
great sponsor, another good guy, really good guy. And
Absolutely. We
he's got-
surrounded ourselves, no doubt about it, at the bottom line too, with Mr. Callie, the owner, 22 Front Street. Well, we surrounded ourselves with pretty good people. And again, I'm very. Well, it's hard for me because I'm usually a little bit in a different mode. It's hard for me to be affectionate towards human being. I'm a bit of a narcissist, right?
Are you?
But yeah, I do appreciate.
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, and I do appreciate all the support we've gotten from the people that watch, the people that follow, and especially Kosa Carpets for Life and the good folks at the bottom line, which again is a stone's throw away from Hockey Hall of Fame. Norman, it's a pretty big deal.
That's right. No, it's a great location, and we're thrilled to be down here. And hey, you know, if you, I guarantee you would never find a dull moment between Billy and I. It's basically like, how would I describe it? It's like verbal UFC. You know, shots left, right, and center. A few cheap shots.
It is, because
a few good shots.
it is.
But we don't want. We're going to make sure you never get bored, because one way or another, you'll hate one of us, both of us. You'll love one of us, both of us. But you'll never say, yawn. So,
no, and it's funny because it's like I've become as the show moves on, I've become kind of the professor of the show, and you've become my little student, and it's always nice to inform you.
Are you at least, even if that were true, which it's a load of BS, but even if it were true, as your student, Billy, would you at least, for God's sake, give me a nice frickin' report card?
You know what?
I've at least earned that, Billy.
You know what? You know what you have earned, Norm. We joke, and some of it, and most of it is facetious. Obviously, love to pull your crank, but again, you've done this for a long time, and you've entertained people for a long time, and now it's time for you to take a back seat and let the Greek take over. Man.
I knew there was like an uppercut coming.
Let the Greek take over.
What a shot!
Let the talent shine, baby, man. Sit in the background, let the Greek develop. Obviously, the people love the Greek, right? How can you not?
Obviously,
I put money in their pockets, and I put smiles on their faces, and warmth in their hearts. That's the three-pronged approach that I use in this game, obviously.
Yeah, so tell them while we're at it, what was how did your picks go this week?
Let's talk about the Leafs first. Obviously, 3-4, quickly, 3-4-1 brings the record to 34-24-2 on the year.
You'll tell them later who you got Monday.
But
right?
on the four losses, obviously one of them's the dirty, stinking Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson. I don't know what happened to him. Russell Wilson looks lost, eh? He just looks like nowhere close to the quarterback that I've grown up with. And then you got the New York stinking football Jets that find a way.
The Jets and the Giants, is there more mercurial teams in the
I don't
league
know.
than those two?
So if you're at 3-0 and the spread's 4.5, you're cashing money, baby. You're ready to call the bookie and say, pay me. And then these potato heads somehow give up an 85-yard punt return touchdown to lose the game. Only the New York stinking football Jets. If you're a fan, stop typing and listen. Forget the people. I'm more important. If you're a fan in that spot, the only thing you're hoping is that punt doesn't get blocked. Right? That's the only way a possession change in that time will cost the Jets a victory. So please don't block the punt. And then you're good. And the guy runs it back 85 yards, kills the spread, kills the Jets. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets went on a streak and they lost the last 8 games of the season in a row. Deflating loss. You got Zach Wilson as quarterback.
Didn't he say the offense was not the problem?
Well, it was not the problem. You couldn't complete a first down. You couldn't get a pass off. And we're not talking about the 86 Bear defense. New England's got full holes. Bears put 50 on them. Like, it's an okay defensive club, but take it easy. Zach Wilson couldn't get a first down, couldn't move the ball, couldn't run the ball, couldn't pass the ball, couldn't kick the ball, couldn't field the ball. And then at the end, you give up 85-yard punt return to kill guys like poor stiffs like me with the 4.5 points. It's ridiculous.
I mean, you want to take another thing. Who would have predicted the Super Bowl champions, the Rams, LA themselves, would have the kind of record they do right now?
You could have saw that coming.
Why?
Just for some of the injuries. And the Rams are very top-heavy. A lot of their money goes to Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Kupp on the outside. So they're top heavy, and once
Well, wasn't that the case last year?
not in the same sense, right? They got a lot of contributions from Higbee. They got a lot of contributions on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And again, that's the year to year in the National Football League, right? Donald still plays there, Ramsey still plays there, Stafford's still there.
Yeah.
You lose Cooper Kupp, you might as well just count your blessings that you won a Super Bowl and move on. You
Yeah.
see, the Rams are done this year. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
What else? What other takeaways from the NFL?
Okay, so how about you want to call them? I don't know. Call them nice stories. Maybe I think actually I'll give you credit. I don't like to do that, but maybe a month ago you said something. Oh, I don't know the exact words, but don't completely dismiss the Washington Commanders. So look at, and by the way, the one other team, if you want to talk about a sort of a Cinderella, maybe not. How about the Commanders and good old Billy Belichick?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad for
It's
New England. right?
unbelievable. It's a smoke and mirrors, 6-4. It's a
Yeah.
schematics, and if that's not coaching and that's not thing, I don't know what is. Obviously, that's not a Super Bowl club yet.
No.
It won't be for a long
But that's
time.
a nice turnaround.
You know, and again, these guys, Bill Belichick's not on the Mount Rushmore of head coaches in any professional sport by accident, right? And it's just a testament to him and his staff. But what I will say about the Commanders is you got to love Ron Rivera. You got to love – I'm a Cowboy fan, so for me to say anything about the Commandos in a positive sense, I don't do it easily. But you got to love Ron Rivera. As a man, what he's been through. And they asked him, like, obviously Carson Wentz comes in there to take the starting job.
Yeah.
So reporter asked him, what goes into your thought process in terms of giving the starting role to Heineke? He looked at that guy, goes, what do you want me to do? We're winning. Heineke's winning for me. Did Wentz expect to be in the back? He goes, I don't care. We're winning. I'm going to do whatever it takes to ensure that we got a best chance to win. Coach's job, right? So shout out to Washington. And if anybody watches football, obviously that team's dangerous because they got a good offensive line and a good front four, a good front seven. You put those things together.
So let me extrapolate on where you're going. Would you expect, let's say, save your Cowboys and save the Bills for the moment in Kansas City? I'll leave those three out. But other than Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Cowboys, would you expect a lot of first playoff game upsets, like shocking upsets?
Here's what I'd expect. And we saw it late in the San Diego game, Kansas City. Do not sleep on the Chargers starting to get healthy. I would not sleep on them. Are they San Diego? LA Chargers.
LA, they used to be San Diego. Yeah.
They can beat anybody on any given Sunday anywhere in the world. Herbert's a top of the line quarterback. I wouldn't sleep on them. Ravens.
But that's a hell of a comeback for Kansas City.
Ravens the same way. They're sneaky, but really when you talk about it, there's probably about 8 teams, 8 to 9 teams you can make a case for.
Okay, so who are behind Dallas, Buffalo, and Kansas City? Who are keep your eye on these guys' teams?
Keep your eye on. Give you
in other words, look out. They could be dangerous come the playoffs.
Obviously, conversation. Started a conversation with Chargers.
Okay.
Then from them, when we take a look at the NFC, you can't count out Brady again because no matter what you say, Brady's going to get a home playoff game with a healthy Tampa Bay team, right? So, like a wild card club for Seattle, San Francisco is going to have to go into Tampa Bay and win. Yeah. Don't sleep on Tom Brady. Don't sleep, obviously, on Dallas. Don't sleep on Philadelphia. There's your 4 clubs right there. San Francisco is the interesting club because, again, talent for talent. Yeah. They got as much talent as anybody in football. But can Jimmy Garoppolo do the job? The jury's still out there.
Oh, by the way, one other team I should mention. Maybe I don't want to jump the gun on the Detroit Lions because God knows how bad they've been and God knows how long it is already. But maybe is there some
no chance.
Some light at the end of the tunnel?
There's light at the end of the tunnel, but the light is in 2024, 25 somewhere.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah. But are you impressed with what this former Giants player is coaching him? It's like, looks like he may know what he's doing.
I love anybody that's seen Coach Campbell. He's an emotional guy. He cries. He goes crazy. The guys love him. And that's one thing that's important. He has that dressing room. The guys love him. They're starting to play. But Jared Goff can't win. He's not a quarterback for me. Okay. And the Detroit Lions are a nice little story. They might win a few, cause some problems for somebody. Yeah. But their time is somewhere down the road and way down the road. When you're talking again, Philadelphia, Dallas, San Francisco, Tampa Bay. 1, 2, 3, 4 in any order you want. With Seattle, San Francisco as Washington as 5, 6, 7. You can throw Minnesota right out. After that, you can throw them right out. Minnesota's a one and done. The playoffs, I've told you a million times, Kirk Cousins a bum. he's a bum. And the minute you put a little pressure on him and you get him off his spot in the pocket, he's a bum. Minnesota's the worst 8-1 team that ever existed. And if that wasn't the case, the Cowboys wouldn't have beat them 43. That doesn't happen by accident, pal.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Is it not possible, because we see this in a lot of sports sometimes, when a team not only loses, but they get absolutely humiliated? I'm talking, that was a humiliation. Isn't that the sort of thing that sometimes can pull a team together?
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, we can't afford to play horse crap like that again. Right?
If your general was not Kirk Cousins, yes.
So anybody
if your general was somebody else, that can be a rallying point.
Yeah.
But when your general's Kirk Cousins and you're the Minnesota Vikings, you know what's going to happen. You just got exposed.
Okay.
Everybody in the league side is a fugazi. You got no shot to compete with some of the clubs in the NFC.
One other thing I gotta ask you.
Make it a good one.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, he's probably still got some football in him, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say he probably has a couple of years worth. If you're Aaron Rodgers saying, you know what, I've had enough of this, I want to try it, I've only got so many years left, can you move me to a team? Kind of, a Brady thing. It's like,
that's very simple. That's very simple. Aaron Rodgers is a Southern California guy. Aaron Rodgers just might be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers next year. Okay. If they can bring that together. Yeah. If they can find a way.
But you agree he's probably getting tired of the what's going on.
I know, you're getting tired. Like, he's got receivers. You're like a better receiver if they threw him out there. He's got nobody to throw to. Yeah. And his career's coming to an end. He's not like a spring chicken. So obviously he wants to go somewhere and win. Yeah. But so did Russell Wilson, and we saw how that worked. There are no guarantees in the NFL.
But I don't think anybody thinks that Aaron Rodgers has done the way that it looks like. Like you said, you watch Russell Wilson, it's like, what happened to this guy, right? The question: You think Aaron Rodgers is at that stage?
No, he's not at that stage. But who knew Wilson was at that stage 10 weeks ago? Right? It can happen very quickly.
I guess Seattle did, no? Or they started.
You would think. Yeah. I don't know. Again, interesting, because they got a lot of flack for that trade. He was a franchise there. Yeah. He put that team on his back, and now he looks like he couldn't be. Bethel Thompson from the Argos looks like a better quarterback than him, and that's the truth, right? It's a challenging time to be a Denver Broncos supporter. Obviously, probably worst head coach in football, an atrocity. First of all, the other team doesn't have any timeouts. You're 3rd and 10. We're at the 2-minute warning. So instead of running the ball and taking 50 seconds off the clock, making it difficult, Russell Wilson throws an incompletion and leaves the Raiders with 2 minutes on the clock. Like, to me, that's just bonehead football. You got to take a sack there. You got to run the clock. Well, you just can't throw the ball away, Russell Wilson. You've been playing in the league 30 years, man. You got to be smarter than that. You got to know the game situation. You got to fall down and let that clock run. Well, Raiders got no more timeouts, Norm.
I think
again, you can't make mistakes like that and be great. So you got to question what's going on inside his head and his physical skills. To me, it was atrocious. Clock management. It was terrible. It was terrible.
I think we started, did we not, to see that early on with Denver, where he was missing, it looked like schoolyard plays. Like, oh, here's a receiver, and it's not even close to the receiver.
Sometimes we forget from the outside looking in, when a guy's talented as him, like changing like he grew up in one dressing room, one environment, one system.
Receivers.
And then you go over to Denver, questionable head coach. You go into a new environment, and you don't have the offensive weapons you're accustomed to. You're not running the ball the same kind of way. Yeah. You got to learn a new system. The question is, again, has Father Time caught up to him, or can he bounce back? It's kind of hard to play football if you have nobody to throw the ball to, and you run for 2 yards a pop.
Would anyone, I don't know if it's even been brought up, you'd probably have a better edge on this than I would. Is there any reason to believe there's an issue with him, either the head coach, the quarterback coach, or the offensive coordinator?
I don't know if there's an issue. I'm not in that room. I'm not privy to the room, but just in his performance, something's not right. Something's not right. I don't know. Figure it out. Is he getting old? Is the coaching staff need an upheaval there in Denver? I don't know. But the point is, they brought him in to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. They're 3-7 and going golfing in a couple of months. So obviously, terrible year for the Broncos. Our Toronto Maple Leafs, my Toronto Maple Leafs, are underway right now against the Island. 3 minutes in, we won't give.
Yeah, they had a lot of Islander. They must have a big entourage. They have a big entourage.
Obviously, there's a lot of Islander fans. Obviously, from the mid '80s, right? They're still running around Toronto. Mid '80s, late '80s. Islanders were the biggest thing since sliced bread around those times. Great clubs, as you remember, right?
Yeah, my friend Mr. Devellano was their chief scout. Jimmy Devellano drafted all their Hall of Famers, and that's why the Red Wings hired him to do the same, and he did the same there.
You know Devellano? You good friends with him? You never told me that before. Have you mentioned it?
I'm having a seniors moment.
Having a seniors moment.
Wait, maybe I did.
All right, so
not in the last 5 minutes.
Just don't tell me about that Philadelphia story, man. When you were with the two guy, I don't want to. We're running out of time.
No,
Here's
that
what I
was
talk
when I
about.
was 18.
Big conversation in Leafland is how the management is handling young Nick Robertson in terms of his playing time. There's been other people have suggested that he's not happy and he should be playing in the should be in the lineup, and the Leafs are mismanaging this young man.
Well, it makes you wonder. Sometimes we don't get to hear. Like, I don't know, is something going on behind the scenes? It's like when you see, like, okay, most fans feel certain players should be getting more ice time, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it just makes you wonder, because this happens in all sports when you see players who might be or are unhappy, or maybe they're not saying so, but you sense they might be. You don't know, or we don't really know. It's like, what goes on in practice? Is there it makes me think there, I don't want to go overboard.
Just
But
ask me.
I'm just saying.
Ask me what the solution is.
Okay, so all right, but makes you. I'm sure there's some reasons from the coaching point of view, but not like Sheldon Keefe owes us to tell us every reason why, who he plays where, and how much time, right?
No, here's the issue. Because he's at a fragile point. You want the guy to prove himself.
Yeah.
You don't want to give him a spot. But at the same point in time, you got to look at some of the guys within your lineup. Guys like Kerfoot, guys like Engel, useless human beings. Like, if you watch Kerfoot at 4.5, 1 goal scored. I don't know Robertson. I've seen flashes, but he can produce more in that spot than Kerfoot. But one guy's on an entry-level contract. Kerfoot's on a tag for 4.5. That comes into play obviously as well. So if you're Keefe, what you got to do? You got to commit to the guy and say, I'm going to give this guy 15 games, 20 games on the second line. I'm just going to run him out every time. Build his confidence. You can't play a kid that's crafty with the puck. You can't play him with guys like Inval and whoever else these jokers got on the third and fourth line. You can't play a kid like that 7 minutes and then complain why he's not producing and pair him up with Norm Rumack that can barely skate. If you want to play this guy, you got to put him with guys that make him look good, or he'll make him look good. One of the two. He's got to be a top 6 guy, or he's got to be in the minors. One of the two. He can't be in the press box. I'll tell you that. He can't be in the press box.
Well,
send him to the Marlies. Give him the 25 minutes a night for the next 2 months, and if you want to bring him back, bring him back. But he can't be sitting in the press box at 21 years old. Can't. You're doing him a complete disservice to be doing that.
I have seen some sports and some players. I don't know, like go through a whole diversion here, but sometimes you'll find if there's athletes who are regarded as you're saying, like Robinson, good enough to most people's perspective to play now. Sometimes I know you might dismiss this, but sometimes teams in various professional sports, you know what, we could send him down to get him more time, but we think he's better, because I've seen this in soccer in England, the team I follow, with other clubs. Sometimes the coach or the manager will feel, you know what, he can learn more.
Sitting in the box?
No, hang on. No, let me finish it because it's important. He can learn more by practicing with us and with guys at this level.
No, he can't.
Well, I'm just saying some coaches, I could be right or I could be wrong. I'm just saying.
There's intrinsic value to have a guy sit in a press box and practice?
Well, but.
Yeah, all right.
But if he's practicing well with the varsity team, with the Leafs, they might feel that this is better for him in the long run.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's
okay,
not.
I'm just saying the coach.
It's not. There's no way you can tell me a 20-year-old guy is better suited to scrimmage and sit in the press box as a getting game reps. Okay,
I'm just saying some coach, because I've seen this. Like I said, I've seen this in other sports where I used to think, yeah, for sure, get the minutes at the lower level. But I've seen more often now in a lot of sports
look at those calves. Man, look at those calves, man. Used to play soccer when I was young. All right.
Really? How good were you? What position did you play, bro?
A popper, man. Popped the
striker.
Striker. Popper. They call me the popper. Man. The popper, man. Just pop it in Greek. Give it in the box, man, and then let the magic. And then I'm also the kind of guy they call for the penalties, right? Everybody does the work. I walk in, with the hair, and I just take the kick. I take the one.
The goal, the keeper gets.
You know what my specialty was, man? I'm cheeky like that, eh? I just flip it straight ahead. The guy dives, I give him a little.
Billy, I hate to say this because I love you, and let's line up against each other in football and go head to head like that. But I'm just saying, Like, were you a dirty player? Did you give cheap shot fouls? To
Nah, I
other
was
players?
not that. I was a mercurial individual. Man, I was like when I want to, I'm the best player on the pitch. I was
Is
the
this in
best
every
player.
sport?
I was the best player on the court, the best player on the diamond.
What
It's
was
just-
your shooting percentage?
And
in
not only
basketball?
that, but I'm also pretty proficient at thumb wrestling. I haven't lost a match of thumb wrestling in my life. Here, want to try? Here.
Yeah.
See if you can pin the Greek down. Go ahead, go.
You got grease on your hair, from your thumb, from your hair.
See if you can pin the Greek down. Never lost in his life the Greek.
I'm gonna call out. Wait a second.
You can't pin the Greek, man. A very slimy individual.
Yeah, wait. You put Vaseline. You
No.
like baseball. He should be suspended.
So
He's
listen to
using
this story.
illegal
You want to laugh?
substances.
So I meet my kid's mom, right? About 10 years ago, it was a little bit effed up,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So she invites me over to the house, right?
Yeah.
I say, Tikanis, how are you?
Thumb
in Greek?
wrestle with a kid?
No. So she says to me, "What do you do for a living?" I go, I'm a semi-retired professional athlete. And she goes, and she goes, so I told her I'm an athlete, and she goes and gets the good china, for my coffee, this, that, the other.
Wow.
She goes, "What sport did you play?" And I said,
Thumb wrestling.
I traveled internationally in thumb wrestling. And I showed her my hand, right? And the daughter's sitting over there going like this, laughing. So she didn't know if I was being serious or not. So I took her hand and gave her a little demonstration. And then about 10 minutes later, I said, "You know what? I'm a bum. I don't work. I'm not a professional athlete." And she took the good china away. I was never allowed
What
back
a
in the
bummer.
residence. Hey,
What
you
a
believe
bummer.
that? You tell somebody you're an athlete, they love you. You tell them you're a degenerate bum, and they kick you out of the house. Hey, how you like that, man? But
That's pretty tough, though.
that's tough, eh? That's tough.
Yeah, I feel for you.
Speaking of tough, obviously Toronto, went to home of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Kind of excited to be part of a winning organization once again. Norm, top of the standings again, top of the Eastern Conference, just a smidgen behind the Bruins. What do you got to say for yourself? You've been dooming and glooming the Leafs for months,
And
man.
I've been right every time.
Well,
in
you've
the
been
playoffs.
right. Who cares about it's a regular season, pal? You wanted to fire the coach. You wanted to do this.
No, that's your
That
friend.
was who was
your
that?
friend, the Gooch.
The Gooch, eh?
The
You know what we're gonna have?
Carey.
We're gonna go back in time and we're gonna
What,
find.
are you going to pay this,
No,
pay this
we're
on
gonna-
his show
No,
every
you know what
time?
we're gonna do?
What?
We're gonna find a collection of moments and we're gonna call them the Gucci's. The Gucci's.
But Billy, to be fair, I'm just saying, what if come April, the Gooch was right? Would you go on his show and say, "Gooch, I am not worthy. I am not
What I've
worthy."
said for the last 2 years
Yeah.
is something that I'll maintain. I'm a consistent guy. The regular season means nothing.
Yeah, well,
I've
we
said
agree
that,
on that.
and I got flack for that. Oh no, the regular
Why?
season means nothing.
Yeah.
The Leafs were struggling a little bit. I said, take it easy, breathe a little.
Yeah,
Wait till
okay.
November. They start playing, and all of a sudden everything's okay. Here's the issue with the Leafland, and it's like we'll get into a little bit of Blue Jay talk, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah.
The Leafs are much like the Toronto Blue Jays. Their goaltending at this time. You're pretty calm with Murray, Samson. They've looked serviceable, right?
Serviceable,
Just like
yeah.
the Blue Jay bullpen looked through June, July, and August.
Oh,
Blue Jays
that,
had the
yeah.
best bullpen. Blue Jays had the best bullpen
And
in the
then-
second half of the season, and then
then
it imploded. So I'm still not comfortable with Murray, with Samsonov. But again, as I mentioned 1,000 times, that you cannot make any kind of inclination as to what the future looks like until after the trade deadline in Toronto.
well, that's fair.
That's
but,
fair.
But look at the Leafs are like every other team. For most of their fans, I don't think anybody watching Mr. Foley and Leafs Nation, most Leaf fans like, okay, just make the bloody playoffs, but do something this
All
year.
right.
They don't care.
Hold
I
on.
talked about this with you before. The LA Kings 2012.
Yeah.
They had a disappointing regular season. They got into the 8th spot in the Western
And won the cup.
That's on my whole
And then
point.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. But that's the interesting.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Leaf history, that's the interesting piece. Because coming into the playoffs, historically, they've always been underdogs. Rarely has Toronto come into a
That's
series
right.
as the favorite, right?
That's right.
They were the
Yeah.
favorites last year against Tampa Bay. Should have won that series. Vegas had them favored coming in.
Yeah.
And we look with the upper echelon talent that they have in the top 5,
Well,
6
forwards,
guys.
yeah.
That you believe the Leafs should be a juggernaut, right? And that's just not how it
in
is.
the playoffs, yes.
Yeah, and that's just not the reality of the facts. We've overhyped the 4 or 5 guys. You need some balance. You need some
Yeah.
guys. Here's an interesting piece, and again, rumors circulating. San Jose at the bottom of the standings. If you were a Leaf, if you were in Dubas' spot, would you take a flyer on a a rejuvenated 32-year-old Eric Carlson
Well,
in your background? Is he somebody? Would
The
you feel
answer-
good about Riley and Carlson as your 1-2 top pair going to the playoffs?
I think Carlson's got it in him to have a playoff run with somebody or anybody. But here's the thing. If I'm San Jose, Billy, if you want to be completely objective, I'm San Jose. I know that we're rebuilding San Jose,
Yeah.
that is, right? So I'm in no hurry. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call every GM who's contending or thought to
Okay.
contend for the Cup, including the Maple Leafs, about a month or a couple of weeks before the trade deadline and say, fellas, we're playing trade poker here. And the best set of cards that you're offering to San Jose
on, but-
is the one that.
but do you
I don't
know
know if
that-
he's got a no trade or limited
Yeah,
trade
here's
right
the
now.
deal.
Okay, so.
But do you need? Is that the element of Leaf hockey
Well,
that's missing, or is Carlson much?
It'd be a big step up, I think, because he's got
He's
a lot.
not the
of
most physical guy, though.
But
He's
I
not when
don't-
you're talking about
no,
your
but-
own end and showing up your own
I
end.
think they need a guy who can help take the pressure off Matthews and Marner on the power play, right? On special teams. You know, I mean, I haven't seen him lately, to be honest with you, but Billy just had a vision.
Holy jeez, man.
You just got diverted from talking about the Leafs. No, I'm just saying. I think.
Bottom line,
I think
sometimes you'll see some
22,
beautiful things.
22 Front Street West.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Put together.
So I'm just saying, I think that would be a good move, but I can guarantee you San Jose Sharks management is going to be saying, highest bidder,
Yeah.
give us the best pat, and that. So Leafs aren't going to be the only ones.
No, absolutely.
Right?
And obviously at this point in time, given that Dubas is kind of on the
Yeah.
clock, no contract extension,
Yeah.
you'd expect him to pull Anthopoulos and be ultra aggressive if he can at the deadline
Right.
to reinforce. You're not going to the playoffs with this club, are you? You wouldn't be comfortable going into the playoffs
As
with this club
constructed?
as
No.
it is.
No.
No, right?
I mean, look at. I would even say, yeah, they can win around just based on Matthews, Marner, and
Not going in with this
long
club.
run. No.
No. So you need additions.
Yeah, that's
obviously,
right. Yeah.
And what those additions are going to look like remains to be seen. Blue Jays trade. We got about
Yeah,
1-2
so they
minutes.
moved. I mean, the analytics all the time. Well, it makes sense. They moved to Oscar, but it's like, and then I saw one of the write-ups was, well, you know, in the finals, the goodbyes at the end of the season, he was already getting dressed and not paying attention what the match. I mean, I don't know. Does that really amount to?
No, it amounts to nothing. If it's a one-off and it's just a singular move, it's terrible. But if it's part of a bigger thought process, which I believe to be the case in terms of acquisitions, then it was just one piece of the puzzle. If you're center fielder next year, and there's arguments there, Cody Bellinger not tendered free agent. There's talk of Brandon Nemo in center field. If you get
how many additions do they need to the bullpen? How many?
well, they got the kid Swanson from Seattle.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing I was talking to my buddy today, and here's the one thing the Blue Jays don't have. They don't have a plethora of guys coming out of the bullpen throwing 98, 99. Every MLB club that you see's got guys throwing triple digits, except the Blue Jays for some reason. You got to go find some guys. I don't know what you got to do, but you're still short there because the majority of your high leverage guys are really low leverage guys. When you're talking about Meza, Richard, Simber, all those guys are meant to come in the game when you're losing 3-1, not winning 3-1. It's pretty simple, right? Those guys got to be the lower leverage guys in your pen. We'll see what the Swanson has, but you got to upgrade that bullpen. And again, it's still early. First week of December, we're going to have your buddy on committed, Mike Bonanno from the winter meetings in San Diego. He's going to have some special guests join us too. Maybe Zach Pop.
Yeah, Jordan Romano's one of his guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So he'll be joining us the first week of December.
Always
look forward to talking to him.
Mike is a good guy, knows his family well, knows his mom's dad well. And he knows his stuff. He knows baseball, like inside, out, minor leagues, major leagues, you name it. So he's going to be a great guy.
You know what? Question? He might even know as much as me. Honest to God. You believe that? I'm the East York Bulldog general manager. What do you think? I'm the skipper here, pal.
Well, I'd have to give.
Why?
Because
you think if me and Bonanno play Trivial Pursuit baseball, he can handle the Greek?
Yes.
You think so? You put your money on there, Rumack? Bonanno, if you're watching Open Challenge, you want to come and hang with the Greek, you think you know more about the game of baseball than yours truly?
Are you including the modern era or just
I'm
the old
including
days?
everything, baby, up until about 2 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, I must say, because probably his mom and dad, Augie and Carm, will be watching at some point. Augie was one of my first sponsors. I love Billy, but I got to give.
You got your money on Bonanno, eh?
I got to give him. Yeah, I mean, if it was an over/under, I'd say I'd put him over you by about 2 or 3 questions and answers, Billy.
That's
Out of 20 or 30. How's that?
all right. Yeah, you know what? That's pretty fair and probably an accurate assessment of what's going on. Anyways, it was a pleasure once again, Norm. I had a great time, and boy, the hour flies by fast. So much to talk about and so little time to do so. Give us a pick before we head out. San Francisco, I'll let you take this. I won't even interfere at all. I'm going to take a break from my gambling exploits. San Francisco goes into Arizona as
I'm going to go
8.5 point underdogs at home. Is that enough for you to give the underdogs a shot, or you like San Francisco?
I'll go with San Francisco.
Sam, you play conservative. You like your favorites.
Yeah.
Norm's got the chalk. We'll see you guys.
What was your pick, by the way?
I sit this one out, man. It hasn't been a good week for the Greek. I'm just licking my wounds, and I'll be back with a video next Sunday morning.
Okay, by the way, thanks to Kosa and Nikki.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nikki Borsch, I'm the king of carpets. Okay,
and once again, it's also important for you because over the course of the last 2-3 years, you've been working with that fledgling Fired Up network, right? That fledgling outfit with B-Ray. So obviously for you, this is a step up, and you're really showing yourself, kid. You're really showing yourself.
Thanks, Billy. I try to give you your money's worth, so to speak. And we got a great producer in Jordan Rosh, and we want to thank Wayne and the great.
You know what I like about Jordan? Every now and then I watch him and he smiles. So if he's smiling, maybe another human being is smiling too.
If we can make him laugh, some of our shtick and our routine.
Or swear.
Yeah. No, and by the way, the biggest reason we're here is because you folks watch us. So thank you, whether you agree or disagree. Sometimes maybe you want to.
Canada 3. You know what? I'm going on record. And you'll see next week as I walk in here. 3-1 Canada over Belgium. How do you like them apples?
So, but at least I have some Canada soccer shirts.
3-1.
You bought a Philly shirt. Why the heck haven't you bought a
3-1? I'm waiting. I'm patient.
He's waiting. Okay.
3-1 Canada over Belgium. We'll see you guys next Monday live from the bottom line, 7 p.m. Thank you.